first scream did not come from a human. It came from a tiger cub. Norah heard it through 3 bulkheads and a sealed quarantine door. A thin, furious sound that made every guard outside Bay 9 tighten their grip on rifles they prayed they wouldn't have to use. Behind reinforced transparent walls, tiger cubs paced in frantic circles. Only 4 to 5 months old, yet panic made them seem enormous. Striped fur bristled. Tiny fangs flashed. Their paws slapped the deck as if trying to outrun grief. The handler's report was simple. No food in 6 cycles. Sedation failing. Injuries rising. Director Harvin stood rigid in the observation gallery. Every specialist around him wore armor, face shields, and shock sticks, as if gear could replace gentleness. Norah, in grease-stained station coveralls and a tired face, met Harvin's narrowed eyes. "You requested access?" he asked. "Yes. You are maintenance. I fixed this bay after the transport crash," Norah said. "I heard them crying under the rubble." Marshal Kett snapped. "Those are Apex Juveniles. Armor Protocol." "Armor Protocol is why they're starving," Norah replied. "You smell like capture. They only remember hands that grabbed them." Harvin's voice went flat. "What are you proposing?" Norah lifted a thermal pouch smelling faintly of broth and herbs. "I go in. No armor, no weapons." Kay scoffed. "Suicide. Or the first safe thing they've seen since the crash," Norah said. Harvin held her gaze. 20 minutes. Security stands by. Norah stepped into the airlock, changing into flannel pajama pants with tiny stars and a loose shirt that read, "Not today." Gravity. The inner door hissed open. Heat rolled out. Cub heads snapped toward her, bodies coiling for a charge that never came. Norah walked in slowly and sat cross-legged on the deck, giving them room to choose. She poured warm broth into a bowl and began eating. The smell drifted across the pen like a memory. The largest cub, one ear nicked, stepped cautiously forward and rumbled. "Hey," Norah said softly. "Everything here smells wrong, doesn't it? I cannot fix what you lost, but I can give you one night where nobody grabs you." She set the bowl down between them. "Your choice," she whispered. The smallest cub wobbled and sat hard, breathing too fast. Norah pulled out a soft, worn blanket and spread it beside her. Then she lay on her side, facing away from them, and closed her eyes. Above, the gallery erupted. Harvin silenced them with a sharp gesture. Down in the pen, tiny footsteps crept closer. A warm breath touched Norah's hair. A claw tapped the blanket. Testing. Then the nick-eared cub tugged the blanket over her shoulder. A careful weight curled against Norah's back. Another cub pressed its forehead into her knees. A third lay at her feet like a trembling guard. The smallest stayed frozen, fighting to remain upright. "You can come too, or you can watch. Either is okay." A broken little chirp answered. The smallest cub crawled forward and collapsed near Norah's hands. She rested her fingers lightly on its head. The shudder stopped. Breathing slowed. On monitors, red stress lines sank into blue. Near dawn they ate. Not from the dispenser. From Norah's bowl, one cautious lick at a time. When the airlock opened for the first check, armored handlers froze. For cubs were asleep on a blanket, curled around a woman in pajamas. Kay's voice crackled. "This is not sustainable." Harvin didn't look away from the screen. "Neither is watching them die." He allowed Norah a full cycle inside the pen, then another. She earned each hour by being steady, lowering lights to warm amber, rerouting vents to remove hiss, replacing metal feeders with soft mats. The cubs tested her in honest ways. One stole her spoon and bolted. One chewed her sleeve in mock offense. One guarded the door. The smallest simply stayed close. Norah redirected, not punished. Palm up meant stop. 2 taps meant come. A soft whistle meant safe. They learned faster than the handlers expected because the rules were not about control. They were about trust. On the 3rd cycle, Kay insisted on entering for a safety assessment. The door hissed. Cubs snapped awake. The guard cub rose first, for spiking, teeth bared. Kay lifted his shock stick. Norah stepped between them. No, the cubs hesitated, not because of Kay, but because they heard Norah. She raised her palm. Stop. The small bodies froze. Kay's eyes widened. You trained them. I listened to them, Norah corrected. Training is just listening with consistency. Kay lowered his stick by a centimeter. A miracle. Then lights snapped red. Emergency mode. Sirens blared. Cubs scattered. The smallest cried, trying to run into the wall. Weapons powered up. Harvin's voice thundered. Norah! Get out now. She sat up, heart hammering, arms open. Look at me. Another alarm. The smallest cub slammed into her lap. Norah wrapped it in her arms, humming steady and simple. In, out, Ket shouted. Sedate them before they breach the pen. Harvin's hand hovered over the console, shaking. Norah kept humming. One by one, the other cubs returned, pressing close to her, choosing the blanket again. Sirens fell to a steady pulse. Harvin's voice returned, strained. Doc ring microfracture contained. No breach. Norah kept humming until trembling stopped. She looked up at the camera dome. They were dying from being alone. Do not make them alone again. 2 hours later, an inspection shuttle docked. Inspector Vale arrived in a sealed suit. Relocate the Juveniles. This station is not a sanctuary. Harvin's jaw tightened. They are registered rescue juveniles under quarantine. Vale's visor turned toward the pen. Logs show sedation failure and staff injury. Norah stepped forward. Your logs also show they ate for the first time because I stopped scaring them. Trust is not protocol, Vale said sharply. It is survival, Norah replied. The cubs sensed the tone, bunching together, tails lashing, ears flattening. The smallest trembled. Norah stepped in front. If you move them now, you reset them to day 1. Vale paused. 10 minutes. Show me. Norah entered the pen in pajamas, sat on the blanket, patting space beside her. The nick-eared cub moved first. The others followed. The smallest pressed into her lap, trembling, then calming as she hummed. She offered broth. The cubs drank carefully. Vale watched silently. At last, document this method, he said. Keep them here under one caretaker. Harvin exhaled, relief softening his jaw. Agreed. After Vale left, Harvin returned to the glass. What are their names? Norah looked down at 4 striped faces and chose 4 new beginnings. Nova, the nick-eared cub, Bramble, the sleeve chewer, Rook, the guard cub, and Mallow, the smallest. Nova rumbled. Mallow rested its head against her wrist. That night, Harvin filed a new addendum. When conventional restraint fails, reduce threat posture. Increase warmth. Provide presence. On the next cycle, the galley cook sent down 4 soft meat bites shaped like stars. Norah sat on the blanket, broke them into pieces, and fed the cubs one by one, letting them climb into her lap. For the first time since the crash, the pen felt like a room, not a cage. Above the glass, a guard lowered his rifle. Harvin admitted softly, "We built cages and called it care." Norah closed her eyes as 4 small bodies breathed against her. "For once," she whispered. "This station sounds like a heartbeat." Later, Harvin authorized a small maintenance alcove beside Bay 9, calling it a caretaker cabin. Barely a room, but with a door that locked and warm air vented. Norah carried the blanket there and sat with the cubs by a narrow window. Stars drifted past like slow snow. Nova pressed against her shoulder. Bramble kneaded the fabric. Rook curled at her feet. Mallow slept under her chin, purring so softly sensors almost missed it. Norah finally ate, not rushed, not afraid, while 4 small breaths kept time with her heart. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.